Hello, everybody, wherever you may be, from coast to coast and sea to shining sea. Welcome to the world's ham radio show, Ham Radio Live. It's where we talk about ham radio, and we spend time sharing ideas, thoughts, and what we're doing in ham radio. Plus, we'll have the HF forecast news, and today's a big show. Today, we're going to talk about how to build your very first ham shack, and it's going to be taught from the experience of knowing the mistakes I made in doing my first shack. I hope you're ready, wherever you're coming from around the world, and away we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Shack in Oregon. My name's Larry. My call sign's Kilo 7 Hotel November. It's truly my pleasure to see you. Happy September 5th. It is Field Day in Great Britain. Happy Field Day to all of our friends over the pond. I want to let you know our whole passion of doing this show is to help you get into ham radio, all right? But before I do that, I really want to thank somebody, all right? We finally have a 7610 coming to the channel. No joke, really. It's a 7610. And that's really about where it's going to go. No joke. I'm so excited for this because, most of you know I have a poster on my wall, right? I have a poster of the 7610. It's been there for 2 years, right? And so Cyrus, bless his heart. And I want to thank Cyrus. I sincerely do, for being a really cool dude and helping me out with this. God bless you, Cyrus. Whiskey 5 Delta X-Ray Echo, for providing the ability for me to finally get this transceiver after 2 years of trying. Thank you, buddy. Thank you very, very much. It'll be here within a week, and we're going to look forward to sharing that rig and going through all the bells and whistles with you here on the channel. Before we go into that, let's tell you about why we're here. We're here to help you get into ham radio, okay? There's many ways to get in, but you need to contact a radio club to do so, all right? Thanks for the thumbs up. You guys are awesome. First of all, the American Radio Relay League can be found at www.arl.org. Hit the Contact Us bar, and they'll help you find a radio club. Same with the Radio Society of Great Britain. Happy Field Day to them, so I wore the Field Day shirt today in honor of the UK's Field Day. Find them online at www.rsgb.org. If you're in Canada, the Radio Amateurs of Canada, www.rac.ca. In Japan, the Japan Amateur Radio League at www.jarl.org. And for our mates down under in Australia, the Wireless Institute of Australia at www.wia.org. Email the show if you got a question, comment, or a suggestion at cqhamradiolive@gmail.com. And if you'd like to help us in our mission to reach people about ham radio and build the hobby, please do so two ways, either on PayPal at proverbs356@me.com or hit me up on Patreon. We have a page there called Ham Radio Live. Tomorrow's, today's the big day. Finally, I'll always remember September 5th because this radio is finally on the way. And I'm so doggone excited. I really am. Let's talk about a special deal for you, and then we'll welcome you to the show. Labor Day deal from ARL, $10 code. It's available through tomorrow. The code is Lima Bravo Delta. So Lima Bravo Delta. Okay. 1880725. Use that code, get $10 off on ARL merchandise. RSGB convention coming up on October the 9th. Andrew Barron's going to talk about SDR radio, evaluating how it works and everything. But here's the interesting thing. A guy that knows SDR is also going to be presenting something there about de-expeditions that won't break the bank. And that man is Ray Novak from ICOM. And Ray's going to be coming here in October live to take your questions, as well as talk about ways that you can get into a de-expedition at little money. How about that? That's pretty cool. Let's say some welcomes. Lots of folks are here. My buddy Kev, all the way in Northern Ireland, is here. Kevin, it's an honor. A very happy Saturday evening to you, mate. Thanks for coming. My buddy Rod, Whiskey 3, miles per gallon, is here. Rod, it's always my pleasure. From the German frontier, my mate Gunther, DK5ONV, great YouTube channel here on YouTube. Just find him at DK5ONV. Did a good video yesterday on him working the big gun net. And he'll tell you all kinds of stories about it. He's good at it. He works it a lot, and they know him really well. So that's pretty cool. So, all right, let's get into it. We've got some job opportunities at the American Radio Relay League. Would you be liking to work there? Well, they got an acquisitions editor position open, assistant marketing manager, a director of emergency management opening, director of information technology, lab engineer, okay? So remember, when we used to see all those wonderful videos that ARL used to produce out there, and, they'd always have their lab engineers, okay? They need one. EMC RFI specialist. So if you're interested in that, that's a cool opening. Membership manager, public relations and outreach manager, plus a social media strategist. So if you're interested, let them know. The Newberry Children for Deaf Children is going to contact the International Space Station. This is so doggone cool. It's going to happen in October. Each child is going to get a chance to ask an astronaut a question. Then the teachers are going to be able to relay the answer in sign language so the kids can talk to astronauts. How doggone cool is that? Next weekend, by the way, Churches and Chapels on the Air is taking place on Saturday the 11th only. So just on Saturday, most activities are going to take place on the 80 and 40 meter bands on sideband from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in London. So that's GMT, all right? Also, this year's International Air Ambulance Week will take place between now and the 12th of September. Focus is on supporting and generating donations for flying medical services around the world. The event covers 2 weekends, giving amateurs a great chance to get involved and support the event. For full details, including how to register, search for Amateur Radio Air Ambulance Week on the internet. All right, welcome to you wherever you're coming from the world. Cuba's still at it. The mosquito still buzzes. Yes, of course it would. Why wouldn't it? That's the way it is. If you're in South Florida or in the Southeast United States or in the Caribbean, this is what you're hearing. It's 7.216, okay? They're jamming today, 7.105, 7.115, 7.158, 7.178, and 7.216. And that's a biggie with over 25 kilohertz wide of splatter. Have a trivia question for you today. Because it's field day in the UK, we've got a field day trivia question, but this has to do with North America. So good luck, all right? So far, Europe with 3, the North American continent with 1. Here we go. Amateur Radio Field Day was first held in what year? Was it A, 1929, B, 1933, C, 1936, or D, 1939? Hit me up with A, B, C, or D, and we'll see which continent gets it right today, all right? Our forecast today for HF and VHF, UHF, sponsored by ICOM. It's powered by ICOM. ICOM, for the love of ham radio. And I'd say shortwave, too. Man, the R8600, that is a dynamite receiver. Top 5 on Sherwood as well. So, yeah, they do good for shortwave as well. Here's your A1A. You can see we do have some sunspots. Solar flare activity looks like this. We do have a chance for solar flare today. We'll talk about that in a moment. Solar flare activity over the last 3 days has been pretty stable. We've had a C-class flare, but that's about it. K-index is up now to a K3, and that's getting settled. So a little noisy on the bands right now. MUFs an hour ago. You could take a look at Ascension Island, 24.82. These mid-latitudes, like, there and in Brazil at 25.43. You see, those right there really tell us a lot about what's going on trans-equatorial. Even south, look at Hermanus in South Africa, 20.85. And Darwin, in the middle of the night, 18.23. Current MUFs, Alaska at 16.04. Boulder is up today to 17.46. Brazil is at 24.24. Ascension Island still in at 16.83. Hermanus, South Africa, 10.47. We've got 2021 out of Athens, Greece, still in nighttime. It's not bad. And Darwin, Australia at 8.14. Current conditions out of Boulder, Colorado right now, SFI of 85. We've got a solar number of 33, A index of 4, a K of 3, which means that the geomagnetic field from the planets is unsettled. Have a little bit more QR Mary today, QR Nancy today. So a little bit more noise in the bands, all right? Our solar wind is way down to 377.8 kilometers per second. Moon bouncers have a fair chance to work tonight. And we'll take a look at the forecast for ham radio and shortwave today. Your daytime in the north, and I mean northern hemisphere, 20 and 17. That should be all you get for voice. If you're equatorial latitudes, you should get 20, 17, 15, and 12. Southern hemisphere today, 20, 15, 17, and possible 12. Data, 30 through 10 meters. Nighttime ham bands at 160, 80, 75, 60, 40, 30. And your best DX, 60 minutes or so of it should be maybe around an hour after sunset on 20 meters. Go get it, because that 60 minutes is brilliance. Shortwave bands today, 31, 25, 22, and 19. Your shortwave nighttime open tonight, 120, 90, 75, 60, 49, 41, 31, 25, 22, and 100% chance of 19 till about 60 minutes after sunset. Our trivia question: Amateur Radio Field Day was first held in what year? Was it A, 1929, B, 1933, C, 1936, or D, 1939? First one in is Rod, Whiskey 3, MPG. He says B, 1933. And Rod, you're correct. North America now with 2, Europe with 3, and we'll see how the rest of this goes here. Gunter had it right as well, and Germany just came in right after Rod. And I want to explain something. What you guys see on your end, on the chat section, right, on the comments, it comes into me differently, all right? I just get it the way these are given to me. So first popped up was Rod, then came in Gunter, then Kevin's came in, okay, then Gunter's came in. So keep in mind, what you see on your end might be just a little bit different on my end, right? We're going to talk about, I think, and I hope, that this is one of my best shows ever. I pray it is, because this is such an important show. This is going to highlight the best way to build your ham shack. It is. If you're brand new to HF, right? Maybe you've been a technician or a foundation licensed person, but you've really not done much with HF, right? This is the best way to build your shack, period. And I'm telling you the truth. This will be agreed to by most people who've been in the hobby for a long time, because they know the importance of what I'm saying. Now, here is where a lot of people skimp right up front. Feed line, okay? They'll go out and buy like RG8, maybe 8X, and they'll get it cheap because it's affordable, okay? But the difference, okay, even RG213, which isn't bad, take a look at the velocity factor of 66.0, that's pretty good, right? You go to LMR 400, look at the difference in velocity factor. Keep in mind, velocity factor is the speed at which the signal goes through the coax, okay? That's how much loss you get. If your 66.0 is what goes out, that means that 34% is not, okay? On LMR 400, look at that, 85%. 85, so 15%. That's a huge difference. So you're paying a little bit more money, but you're getting so much better performance. That's why I say, when you build your ham shack, the first thing you buy is good quality feed line. And there's 2 reasons. First of all, you step up and buy better stuff, and you don't have to pay for Times Microwave LMR 400. It's very expensive. But you can buy DMR 400. This I purchased from Ham Radio Outlet. They sell it. It's a similar LMR 400 variant. This is actually called ABR 400. But, it's a little more expensive, but not that much over RG213. Okay. This is, obviously bendable. It's thick. It's got a very, thick dielectric inside. So it's going to get your signal out. Spend the money up front first and get good feed line. I mean, here's where people get into problems, myself included. But I want to help. If I can help one person do it the right way from my mistakes, then this show is worth every minute I put into it. Here's where I started. I wanted this. Okay? Actually, that's incorrect. I wanted this. I wanted the 7600, but they weren't making it new anymore. So I bought a 7300. That's what I started with. All right? Shiny touchscreen. Beautiful to look at. Look at how beautiful that is, right? Some people might look at the FTDX 10. Look at the screen. Beautiful, right? That's the whole point. These all have the same thing in common. They're color, they're touch screens, and they look beautiful, right? Now, I know on the the 7600, it's not full touchscreen. I get it. But the point is the screen is beautiful. It pops. It just pops. But this is where hams make a big, big mistake. I mean, maybe you want a shack in the box like a 7100. That is a full touchscreen, all right? But those are like $800. Put your money elsewhere. And we're going to talk about that today. Alpha from Yaesu. We talked about that last show. Great transceiver. excellent on VHF, UHF, and it has a great HF side too. But it's $1,200, all right? Instead of doing that, think this way, top down, but don't skip on feed line, because your feed line is the most important piece to get your signal out. And here's the deal. You're going to change out radios all day. You will. You'll change tons of radios. You'll go through them and you'll get a different one, then you'll buy a different one. Same with antennas. You're going to experiment with different antennas. You're going to try different ones and work with different ones, but you're not going to replace this. This is going to stay with you the whole time. So get the best you can get, because you're not going to replace it. You're going to hold on to it. If you take good care of the ends and keep them dry, it'll last you 10, 12 years if you're good to it. So LMR 400, like an ABR 400, a DMR 400 to save the money from Times Microwave will help you. Good point from Gunter. Antenna and feed line over pricey tube amps every single day of the week. Kevin in Northern Ireland, I use Ultraflex 10 feed line. Yes, it is great coax. Welcome, Mike from Jacksonville, Florida. Kilo Delta 2, Sierra X-Ray Delta. Mike, always an honor. Antenna, antenna, antenna. He's dead straight right. If you're new to Eham Radio, if you're new to HF, look, I know these radios are beautiful, and I know there's tons of YouTube videos on radios just like this, and you see what they can do, and you're blown away because they look pretty, right? They look good. Looks sell radios. A friend of mine, Bob Nagy, who has a YouTube channel here, AB5N, says, I'll be honest, looks do impress me in terms of making a buying decision. You know, that's great, but you've got to start with a great antenna. You have to, because if you have a marginal antenna, you're not going to love that radio. And I've had people email me, tell me, you know what, Larry, I don't like HF. I don't like ham radio because I can't make calls. I've got an antenna. It's up 20 feet and I can't make calls. Of course you can't. The antenna's not high enough, or it's not the right antenna. All right, let's give you some ideas. First of all, VHF, UHF. MFJ 1521 is my recommendation. It's not that expensive. It has gain on both UHF and VHF, and it will work you. So you're good there, okay? The second thing I'd like to tell you about is an antenna that I've had for over 16 months in my yard. Okay, it's the DX Commander Classic. We're going to talk about that in a moment, all right? But here's where tons of people go. They buy this, okay? They'll buy something like this. They'll get the 7300, right? And then they'll buy this, like a G5RV or a ZS6 BKW. Let me tell you, first of all, the ZS6 BKW is a great antenna. I've sung its praises here for a long time. It's capable of operating without a tuner on 10, 12, 17, 20, and 40 meters, okay? Without a tuner. All right, SWR readings are typically 1.5 or 1.5 to 1 or less, okay? G5RV was introduced back in 1946, but it was never designed to be a multi-band antenna. It was designed to work as mates in UK. That's it. Doesn't mean it's a terrible antenna. It means you should get better than this to start with. Otherwise, you have a great opportunity of hating ham radio because you can't make calls. Let's take a look at an antenna I've had personally for a year and a half in my backyard. It's been through snow, ice, rain, sun, blistering heat, and everything. And it's brilliant. This is from Callum McCormick. His YouTube channel is DX Commander, one of the best there is in ham radio. Let's take a look and see what Callum does to show you how to build the DX Commander Classic. By the way, you can get this antenna shipped to you for under $300. This is a great vertical antenna.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DX Commander. My name is Callum, M0MCX, and I'm going to show you a quick, sorry about the wind, a quick tour of the DX Commander and how to multiband it. So this is a 10 meter pole. It's a standard sort of friction fit pole that goes up as you would expect. I'll just give it a really good shove, to be honest, like that. And to go down, I put it away. So there we are. Right, now it's a 10 meter pole. It's not, it's about just under 9.5. Don't let that put you off. It's plenty enough to make a 40 meter vertical. Now, multi-banding it. Originally, in the old days, what I'd do is I'd bring my coax up, effectively waterproof the end of the coax, go straight up the pole with the inside, and use some radials, 4 or maybe 8 by the coast, and that worked well by the coast, but it's not quite enough radials to get a good match on the one hand, and it's not very efficient. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DX Commander. My name is Callum, M0MCX, and I'm going to show you a quick, sorry about the wind, a quick tour of the DX Commander and how to multiband it. So this is a 10
Sorry
meter
about
pole.
that little issue with my phone streaming this. This is a replay of what you just heard, but he'll get into how to build it, okay? Again, his purchase place is right here, m0mcx.co.uk.
Like that. And to go down, I put it away. So there we are. Right, now it's a 10 meter pole. It's not, it's about just under 9.5. Don't let that put you off. It's plenty enough to make a 40 meter vertical. Now, multi-banding it. Originally, in the old days, what I'd do is I'd bring my coax up, effectively waterproof the end of the coax, go straight up the pole with the inside, and use some radials, 4 or maybe 8 by the coast, and that worked well by the coast, but it's not quite enough radials to get a good match on the one hand, and it's not very efficient. So over the years I've developed methods of improving things. So I finally ended up with a system of water jet cut components. So this is my radial plate. Now, how does that fit? Very interesting. I've had it cut so that the radial plate fits on to the bottom, so you can screw this back on. It's 4mm thick aluminium. You know, aluminium is aluminium. Obviously SO239 here. You can see that, so I've hot glued this and soldered the SO239 to here, because I didn't want water actually penetrating in there. And if you're careful with your PL259 here, to be honest, if I'm out portable, I normally just use a bit of Vaseline. So that's it there. So I call that my ground plate. This here is the my driven element plate, if you like, and it's very easy. It's, I've left a place here to put the so I need 3 hands here because I'm making a film and doing this for you. So that's where my will connect to, and if you're only using one element, then just by all means just go 40 meters, which is a quarter wave, up the tube. But the problem is, how do you stop it falling over? Well, I used to have go with metal, but in the end I've gone with these. These are again water jet cut, very similar to nylon 66. I've drilled out 3 holes here, or designed it. I CAD. This is CAD drawn, and then cut out. And there's holes for. Let me put this pole down here. There's a number of holes depending on what you want to do. You know, you might want to put your 40 meter up the middle. You might want, you know, 30, 20, 12, 10, and so on and so forth. The best solution, if you want very high power, so you're going on holiday maybe with an expert, 1K, K3 amp, and you want 40, 30, 20, 17, and 15, then you can go without a tuner. All you need is a patch lead between the rig and the amp, and then straight into your DX Commander all-band vertical. So it's exactly the same as kind of a step IR vertical. It performs exactly the same. It's just a lot cheaper. Okay, you know, so there we are. That goes, I'll just pull the next section out here for you. Whoops. That goes here. And so I'm just showing the other camera here, so show you how it works in a close-up, and that's fine. Now, normally I put a Jubilee clip just above that to stop it collapsing. Very rarely have I had a collapse, but in the middle of the night, the gales are blowing, and it collapses down. It's well, It's annoying more than anything else, frustrating, particularly if you maybe working a contest or something. To keep all your different quarter waves, because that's what they are, it's like exactly the same as a fan dipole technology. I use what I call a top spreader. So this is at the 5 meter point. This sits on a pole. Again, I'd put a Jubilee clip here as well. In fact, to be frank with you, I put rubber tubing, 8mm aquarium wire. In fact, I sell these, the kit, on these, so that you can, they screw on just above each section. So let's just take a couple of sections out. I'm sure you get the idea. Well, I'll do it in this one here. A lot of people want to know where to put the Jubilee clip. I put it here, not there, if you know what I mean. Again, with some rubber tubing, means you get some great stiction on the one hand. It doesn't destroy or upset the pole, doesn't take the paint off, you know, all that sort of stuff. So we've got the upper spreader. How I stop the upper spreader from I take my elements, my quarter wave elements. So my quarter wave elements are here. I've labelled them, so it's like 17 meters there. This is 30 meters. I have 20 there, look, and 40. And I just solder and crimp actually these. I come straight up through the guide plate. I separate them, so I have 40 and 17, and then I have 30 and 20 opposite. It just the way it worked for me. You might find your mileage may vary. That's how I do it. Then I use a little tiny bit of shock cord, which I sell these as a kit. A little bit of 3 or 4 mil shock cord, so my 20 meter vertical would come up to quarter wave, little loop, and I put again in the kit there's some little duffel coat buttons, so it holds it on. Again, for the 17 meter element, it's a bit longer, but I use the same amount of shock cord, and then I just use a little bit of mast strand or some paracord or whatever else, again with a button, duffel coat button, so you can unclip it. So the original, the first time you build this, it's a bit of a pain. You just got to measure it all out, get it right. Once it's built, you can take it away, and it'll work again. So that's everything. How do you maintain it? I talked about these upright, that is. I've talked about these guide plates, so I normally just use regular 550 paracord. I've made these up, but you could use any guy stakes you like. Again, this just goes at the guide point goes at 1.2 meter above the ground, and away you go. There's other simpler approaches. You could use a fence post, for instance, with some shock cord. You could use the bottom of the tube here. The last tube section is 44.5 millimeters, which I believe is 1 3/4 inches, and that will quite happily accept a, for instance, thin walled 1.625 thin wall aluminium inches 3/4 or 44 mil tube, which you can pad out maybe with a little bit of insulation tape just to get that perfect fit. And then that tube, you can concrete it in the garden, you can dig it in, you can strap it to a fence post, or give a tow bar mount or drive-on mount, something like that. So we've got then so far let's just take this apart again. It's all falling off the bottom, and that's our ground plate. I'll put that back on now. Oh, and the end of the tube's gone on the floor. This is my sort of driven element, as I call it. And I've used this pole so many times. Bottom's dropping out. And then we get to radials. How many radials do I want? Well, to be honest, I don't have one radial per connector. I use bunches of radials. So this is, for instance, I've got a connector here with 5 radials. On it. This is D10 comms wire, by the way. It comes with a twisted pair. You can get it on eBay. It's very robust. D10 is a twisted wear Europe, UK, Second World War wire. I don't know. It's 3 steel and 4 copper conductors, I believe. So I solder and crimp 5 4.5 meter long radials. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 20, 25, 30. If I want, I can have 35 radials. But what I do on my disc plate, I will remove the odd ones. So I'm just using 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 radials at 4.5 meters long will be fine on 40 meters, by the way. I'm one of these guys who's done it, been there. I promise you, you'll be absolutely fine. The only other thing we need, I've got some spare radials where there, just in case, and my driven element. And if you package this all up into a Tesco box or a backpack, you'll have your coax to the, I've got no balun, notice, no isolation balun or anything like that. I'm going to use this coax here as one of my radials, effectively. That one goes there. I've got all my bits in the middle. I've got some Jubilee clips, which I haven't got out here at the moment. I'm just about to fit all the rubber tubing so I can make another film about actually making this work. You'll need some guy stakes, probably some bits and pieces, screwdriver and a hammer, and obviously you always need your tape because that's important. And that's it. Enjoy your radio. Have fun. Go high power because life's too short. I'm Callum, M0MCX. Have a lovely day.
All right, there you go. So there is Cal McCoy, excuse me. I was trying to grab this, and it ended a little sooner than I thought, so I apologize for that. For people who are new to ham radio, Callum mentioned a lot in that video that may be really confusing, and I want to try and explain it, okay? This antenna is the best vertical buy there is in the market. And if you want an antenna that's really going to work, okay, you're going to need to understand how it works. Okay, you need to build it because you're essentially going to be getting a very strong and well-built pole, really solid plastic spreaders, which are very thick. But the best part of his antenna is in the driven and the ground radial plates. They are fully threaded. So he comes with the hardware, everything. It's fully threaded. They're not going to slip out. You're not going to be finding nuts and bolts on the ground and trying to sift through your grass to find it. They're threaded. They're well designed, well built. Okay. A vertical antenna, whatever frequency you want to work. Okay. If you want to work the middle of 40 meters, for example. Okay. In the US, it's 234 divided by your frequency. That's it. Okay. And you have two parts of the antenna. You have the vertical element that goes up. And he talked about ground radials, right? He said he had 25, usually 25, maybe 30 or 35. Ground radials, okay, you've got basically a radial that will go up like this, okay? Let's say this is 40 meters, okay? It's going to go to his plate at the bottom and then the ground plate here. And then you're going to have ground radials that are going to come out from the ground radial plate. They're just going to go all over. And literally you just put them wherever you want. And over time, the grass is going to grow over these. It's going to sink right into the ground. You're not going to worry about mowing over these things. That was a worry I had. It doesn't happen because the wires go in the ground. It's perfect. So the DX Commander Classic is an amazing antenna and a great buy at it's like $300 shipped to the US. 350, I think it's a 350. That's an amazing buy for what this is because you're getting quality components, but you do need to know how to build an antenna. 234 divided by your frequency. It's going to give you resonance on that frequency, okay? And then from there, it's going to slowly get a little bit off of a really good, like 1-to-1 or 1.5 or 2-to-1 resonance. But that antenna works great. I mean, I've had mine now 16 months. We're going to move over to a rig. And we'll take a look. I've got one rig left. I've got one. So let's take a look. It's the FTDX 5000. This is on the DX Commander Classic that has been in my backyard full-time duty for 16 months now. Let's take a listen. And again, this is simply off of this antenna, what's available now. And conditions are not great here in the Northwest. Here's 80, 75, which I'm using it as an inverted L. So it comes up the top of the antenna to the area where it has 2 holes, and then it goes right down to my fence. That's all it does. That's my 75 and 80. Okay? Works brilliantly. Love the thing. It's made me calls to Australia on 75. So this is really a fantastic antenna. So you build it for whatever frequencies you want to use, but this is starting with a good antenna. This isn't starting with like a marginal antenna that, you can go up onto a fence post or something and you hope it's going to work. This works. This antenna fully works, and it works long distance. That's the key to this antenna. Now, Callum sells a bunch of products, and I put his website right there on the screen for you. It's M0MCX at .co.uk. So M0MCX.co.uk. This antenna, again, here's 7580. I built it as well for 40. So here's 40. I was going to say, wow, there's a lot of noise there. Let's listen to, we'll see if we can pick up something on 40. Again, it's just been sitting in my backyard 16 months. And this antenna is really built for you to take with you, to compress, take with you on the road, make calls with from parks on the air, islands on the air, summits on the air. But I decided to build mine permanent, and it's been great. Mine's set for 40 as well. Here, I'll just hit the tune button for you. So you can see it'll tune just brilliantly. Okay, here's 20 meters, tuning right away on it. So, this antenna to start with, if you're going to start with an antenna and you don't have a ton of cash, this is the best one. Okay? This is your best antenna. So here's 20.
November Echo. I'm in Arapahoe City, Colorado. Alpha, Romeo Alpha. Your name and state? Roger that. Will in Kentucky. I got you in the log. Thanks for the contact. Have a good rest of your weekend. 73 QRZ. This is November 0 Alpha Delta for the Colorado QSO party.
There you go. Colorado QSO party. Okay. So this is a radio. Of course, it would not go over like that. It's been one of those days for me, but I take you along for the ride because we're buddies, right? The DX Commander Classic is an excellent starter antenna. It's an excellent antenna if you've got antennas, okay? But here's the deal. Vertical antennas are going to hear everything. They're omnidirectional. They'll transmit omnidirectional. They will hear omnidirectional. That means you're going to hear everything. Lightning strikes, QRM from other locations. You're going to just hear everything. That's the way they work. So Callum also makes another product, his basically directional antenna setup. This is great. You can get multiple products from him. This is a way to get a true vertical directional antenna system. Right there, Callum's site, m0mcx.co.uk. This is another product he makes. The takeoff angle for that antenna, look at it. It's brilliant. Look at how directional this antenna is. And look at the takeoff angle. The takeoff angle is brilliant. This is an antenna you take with you on holiday. So that's his directional vertical package. You don't pay a ton of money for all these. You'll be under $500 shipped. Okay, so there's verticals. There's DX Commander. Okay, it's also the Alpha Hex antenna. This is new. We tested the heck out of it here a few weeks ago. And this antenna, while being portable, can be used on your QTH, on your balcony, in your backyard, wherever. And it's great. This thing is stunning how well it worked for me. You simply tune the links of the whips on top, okay, for length, and then you follow their directions of how long they should be. You'll be real close in SWR to a 1.1 to 1 on that, frequency band. Now, they're also very flat in terms of being able to work band edge to band edge. This is a great antenna. It's $299. It'll include 30 and 40 meters with it, okay? They also do have a directional kit for this as well, so you can make it a Yagi on the road. Pretty cool, okay? Something to start with. This is at least a decent antenna. It's not bad at all. But please, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking wires. I love the ZS6 BKW, but most hams have a problem because they don't like ham radio because you can't make calls. And they're like, well, doggone, all I do is hear noise. I can't make calls. It's your antenna. Don't go out and buy the shiny radio, no matter how much temptation you have in your heart that you've got to get that shiny screen radio. Don't do that. Instead, put your money up front into great feed line and great antennas. That's where it's going to make all the difference in the world. Alex Alonso, is this the Classic Expedition? That's the classic antenna that I have 16 months in wind, snow, ice, heat, and everything, and it's still up. It's brilliant. The DX Commander Classic antenna is built so well, Alex. I can only speak volumes of grace about that antenna. It's just amazing. It really is. There's another way to do this. There's only one rooftop tower manufacturer left in the U.S. Did you know that? Yep. It's W8IO. That's it. No, Glenn Martin is gone now. If you try and call Gigaparts, try and call, DX Engineering, maybe give Ham Radio Outlet a call, say, hey, I'd like to get a rooftop tower. What do you got? They're going to tell you nothing because there's nothing out there. This is the last remaining company in the United States that makes rooftop towers. So if you want to put a directional on your roof, here's your only shot. W8IO. And here's my main point. Because so many people have contacted me, and I mean dozens of people since this show began in August of 2020, about which radio to start out with. And since they're mentioning Yaesu FTDX 101 MPs, and they're mentioning ICOM 7610s, and they're even mentioning Yaesu 5000s, you're talking over $3,000. Okay? You're well over $3,000. Instead of doing that, here is the best advice you will get on YouTube. I guarantee it. Buy this. It's going to cost you about $450, $500 shipped. Okay. Get a rooftop tower. Okay. Get yourself a rotator and buy an urban beam. Step by our urban beam. We're building one here. And the results of this antenna, let me explain briefly how this works to give you a great idea. And this is part of the reason why I couldn't get you in time at the end of the Callum segment, because I forgot the radio. Let's listen to how the urban beam works. I can show it to you with an AM radio. Okay. So we turn the radio on. Let's turn the rig off. Okay, you're good? Now watch. Hear it got better? You hear how that changed? AM radios, if they're good, will have a directional antenna built in. It has a wire built in or a ferrite built in that will help it be directional. You turn the antenna on the radio, basically, and it will tune the radio in for the best gain to the station you're trying to work. That is precisely how the urban beam.
So check out the difference between.
This is exactly how the urban beam works. It's precisely how it works. You turn it, and it's going to pull in gain from the area you're trying to work. Say, for example, you want to work Europe. You turn it towards Europe. You want to work Australia? Turn it towards Australia. It helps to tune in and bring in the gain of the signal because you're going to hear better because it's a directional beam. You're going to transmit better because it's a directional beam. How much transmit? Over 6.5 dBi. 6.5. So you're getting quite a bit of gain in the direction you want to work. There's a great video channel here on YouTube out of Canada that has done not only a great, and I mean a great instructional video on how to build this antenna, but also some work on what it's like to work it. Let's take a quick look at this urban beam, where I would start. If I'm looking at $3,000 or $4,000 radios, I would buy this antenna first on a mast on my roof, and then I'd buy the next radio I'm going to show you. Here we go.
So check out the difference between the dipole on a local and a DX station on 40 meter. Check it out.
J'ai contacté d'autres cousins sur 80 mètres les deux nuits.
Alors, là, on va écouter effectivement 5 plus bas, 7135, mais...
Last weekend, there was a contest There was actually a lot of interference coming from Europe when I beamed straight east. And there was a station, a VE4 station that is exactly on the west. So what I did is I didn't hear it very much, but when I turned on the other side, well, you can see that I attenuate the interference from Europe and the signal has become way louder. So it makes a huge difference. Performance was very, very good into the front to back. Check it out.
Again, this is using the Step-by-R Urban Beam with the SDA 200 controller. Thank you to Pascal for the video. He's turning the antenna right now. You can see in the lower left in degrees.
If you're on the East Coast, you're probably 5, but it could be 4, like there's a line on the map. So you want me to put you down as a 5? Yeah, it's a CQ zone map. You can find it, and there's a line that just goes right through along the eastern seaboard. So if you want to change it, just let me know. Thank you. Thank you for working into contact. Victor Echo 4 Japan, Bravo Bravo. CQ contact. Victor Echo 4 Japan, Bravo Bravo. Victor Echo 4 Japan, Bravo Bravo.
Okay, you see how it made a difference? You see how there was really nothing coming in, then it turned. You know, and Pascal, by the way, Pascal Villanueva has a wonderful YouTube channel here. You can find him at VA, that's Victor Alpha 2, Papa Victor. Great YouTube guy, has a ton of stuff. And you know what I like about him? He's humble. That's so nice to see on YouTube. Somebody who's humble. And Pascal, thank you for a great video. We're going to show you, I want to show you something real quick. And this is really, really important, okay? Because I want you to understand the value of what I'm trying to tell you. Don't make the mistake I made with buying the cool shiny radio because the cool shiny radio looks good. Don't put your money there. Put your money in your antenna. Stick everything in your antenna if you have to start with, and wait a month to buy a radio. You will be so much happier by spending what you had on a great antenna and waiting for the radio. Because if you got a great radio and bought an okay antenna, you're just not going to be happy with ham radio. You won't, unless you're working VHF, UHF. All right? That's just the way it works. Let me give you 5 tips to help you in ham radio if you're going to be successful in this hobby. Number 1, buy great quality feed line. I cannot understate this. I showed you 3, right? You've got LMR 400. You also have BMR 400 as well as DMR 400. They are excellent and they work. They work so well. You're going to get less loss out of those feed lines than you are out of, say, RG213 or RG58. You know, you're just not going to get a whole lot. You're going to get so much better out of that better feed line, and you're not going to change it out. You won't replace feed line. You'll change out antennas and radios, but you're not going to change out your feed line. All right. Number 2, buy the best antenna you can afford. Okay. That's the very best you can do. Buy the very best antenna that you can afford, whether it be, like, say, for example, Callum's DX Commander Classic. Maybe it's an Urban Beam, or maybe you can afford a tower and put yourself a really nice Moxon on top, right? Okay. If you have the money and the wherewithal that you can do that while checking your city codes to make sure that they're good, you'll be fine. But keep in mind, the best antenna you can buy is the best thing you can do. That is it, period. That is it, period. And you know, here's the deal, Eddie. A beam is not the whole story. If the beam is too low, it will radiate up. For DX, it should be a half wave above the ground. This is the same as a dipole. Eddie, I disagree 110%. And I'll tell you why. Because I know of 3 people that have directional antennas that are less than a half wave up that make excellent DX calls around the world. They do. 30 feet. Seriously. And they work brilliantly. So while maybe the math works out that way, In reality, these guys are making calls. All right, let's get back to the tips. Number 3, check Eham reviews for products before buying. That's the honest truth. Check to see what other people in the hobby are saying about the product, because, you may love it, but you may find out some things that people have said that's not that great about it. And that could be a huge help to you. Know what other ham radio operators are saying about this product, because, again, it may be a great radio that you think is awesome, but there may be a ton of people saying there's a problem with the finals, or there's a problem with the screens. Make sure you do that, all right? Number 4, focus on a decent low price working transceiver. I can't stress this enough. So many people want the shiny, beautiful, screen with the incredible, I guess what I'm trying to say, the incredible look. They want the look, but the looks don't work the radio. Okay, you don't work a radio with looks. You work a radio with a good antenna. That's how it works. So buy good products that you've checked out on Eham. Then focus on a decent low price working transceiver. Okay? And I mean decent. I'm not talking about buying something that's a piece of junk that needs work. I'm talking about a decent low price transceiver, $500 or less. You can get that. You really can. Let me explain to you what I'm talking about. And this is really, really important. Take your time building your shack. Don't rush. You have plenty of time. Remember, it's like measure twice, cut once. That's like that. Take your time. It's really important. Let me show you. Okay, there's a few radios. ICOM 718. Great radio. Still can buy it new, but it needs an antenna tuner if you're not working a resin antenna. There's another another radio that's brilliant for this purpose. If you stuck your money into Callum's DX Commander, for example, or you bought perhaps, the Alpha Hex Tenna, all right? Or W8IO Tower, which, by the way, it was stated that he's back ordered. Yes, he is. You know what? This guy does this on a side gig. He does this on the side. He's got a full-time job, and he builds those towers on the side. But he's the only person that makes them right now in the United States. That's the only place, really, is W8IO. So there's that. So please understand, you really got to work hard and know your homework if you're going to buy a radio antenna. Callum's antenna is brilliant. DX Commander. Can't beat it. Classic or Nebula, or buy one of his 4 squares. They're great. Buy, a directional that way, or get yourself like a Hex Tenna. Yeah, it's portable, but you can adjust it and you can work thousands of miles of this thing. I've used it and it blew me away. Full power, it'll do it all. Nothing wrong with wires, but don't go to a wire antenna first because you're buying an expensive radio. Buy the expensive antenna first, and that's the honest truth. Urban Beam, you can buy it now on sale for under $25.50 plus tax. That's a great buy for a directional antenna. Then what I would do, since I got my money invested in great quality feed line and great antennas, I'd buy this because it makes all the difference in the world. And Eddie, God bless you, man. I love you. You know I do, because every time you comment something that's critical. But I don't care, because I know what the facts are about antenna height. And they work at 30 feet. And even the people at Step IR will tell you that. Next, let's take a look at a radio that will work. It'll work you brilliantly under $500.
That sort of goes to that is by necessity. Try to take it easy, give yourself tomorrow, VK 78K. Well, you make the boys all right, man. Good to go come back up. Okay, yeah, no, I tell you what, here, no planes allowed to fly.
This is a Yaesu FT450D, all right? This is a rig you buy for $500 or less. Currently, it is no longer in production. Yaesu stopped producing it last year. This gentleman is from VK. He's trying to sell it. That's what he does. He buys and sells rigs, but he can't believe one thing about this rig. He can't believe how good it is. And as much as I'm not a huge fan of Yaesu, the company, this is an amazing buy for you. If you're new to ham radio, put your money in your antenna up front and get the best you can. Get your great feed line and go with something like this instead of the shiny screen. Listen to what this ham radio expert of decades of experience will tell you about this transceiver.
So this is the FT450, great little radio. and just having a bit of a listen around to see what's up. That was Ron before on the AHR net. I'm in slow VFO at the moment. Fast comes up if you want to really spin around. Problem with fast is you've got to start it in a 0-0, otherwise you end up on the just going through, having a bit of a listen through here. Not as much activity on 40 metres as I thought this morning, to be honest. But anyway, this is a radio that we had set for a purpose. I put on 105, Paul might be there. A bit of rubbish on there. And the 115 is... Oh, there we go, actually. I don't know if these guys will hear me. Never know. Jeez, it's coming in well.
This is VK5MJ Relay. To say there to Ron VK5BRL there, over.
And VK3 Charlie Mike on an old FT450. Not really old. Gee, that's not bad. We're just on a piece of wire on this at the moment. Conditions are obviously not too bad. They may not call me in for a little while, but that's okay. They're a busy net, this one, on Saturday mornings. I've just come in from the gym, so I sort of a bit late for all these nets today. But thought I'd do a video on this FT450 because it's look, it's a great little radio. I ended up using an 847 for the application we wanted. I bought this off a good mate of mine, Steve VK3YW, and it did not disappoint. When he said it was in the box like new, you know, sort of, he was 100% correct. It really is, you know, original books, manuals, power cords, etc. So, yeah, I must admit, we probably should have used this because we've used a radio that's twice the value for the application. And after now having a bit of a play with this, I've got to be honest, I probably should have used this one. It would have done the job perfectly. But we ended up sort of just using a bit of VHF, UHF as well, and that was the only reason that we didn't use the FT450. But, mate, very clean, extremely clean, this radio. And we're going to move it on. It's not going to be a lot of money, but I can tell you what, it's a lot of radio for them. I'm really impressed by the receiver. Actually, I wasn't impressed by the receiver. I've got to be honest. My antenna switch fouled up, and it's generally been pretty good, but no, it's dead, and it's one of my good Daiwas too. Position 2 has died. I thought initially, hey Steve, this thing doesn't receive very well, but it wasn't Steve, it was my antenna switch. And there was just a bit of an attenuated signal, but of course when I saw these signals, they're amazing. Have a listen. This thing's got a lightning hot receiver. I mean, this is off a piece of wire. I think he's calling me. Yep. These guys are just rocketing in.
Okay, I think so. And someone, Frank, just before I get Charlie Mike.
Oh, he's going to call me in, so we'll keep the video running just for a little bit, just to do a transmission into South Australia with Ron, VK5BRL, who's VK5 MRE. Good mate of mine. I've been to Ron's place. Great guy actually. You won't find much better. Him and his wife Jeanette, beautiful people. Just see if... Oh, okay, why not? Yeah, good morning. I'm videotaping you at the moment, so be aware. Mate, I'm just doing a test on an FT450. I'm actually on a bit of wire. You guys are 5 and 9 plus at the moment on a bit of wire on an FT450. Hopefully you can hear me okay. But just running 100 watts at the moment, Ron. VK5 BRL, VK3 Charlie Mike, thanks for calling me in. Marcus. Hey, g'day Marcus, and also g'day Dennis. Over to you, Ron.
mate. Yeah, it's a 9 Brenton's on the 450, so that's all right. I don't know about video. Have you got a secret camera somewhere?
Yeah, that's it.
I'm going to say to the 3 to you at the same time as well, mate, and have a happy Easter, over.
Yeah, happy Easter, Ron. Thanks, mate. I'm amazed by this 450. The receiver is so lightning hot. I've never used one before, and I pulled this one out of the box. It's like brand new, and I thought, got to give this a run. Anyway, thanks, mate. 73s to you. I've just come in from the gym. I'm trying to lose some weight, so we'll see how that goes, eh? 73s, mate. All the best, Dennis. All the best to Marcus as well. Cheers, guys.
Happy Easter, bro.
Happy Easter, guys.
There you go. That is a Yaesu 450, not the D, but the 450 model. And that's under $500 easily. Okay, Yaesu. And I'm not a big fan. I'm not. If you knew me well enough, you would know I am not a big Yaesu guy. I've got the 5000, but that's all that's left in this building, and there will be no more after this. So, you can't say never. Maybe. But my point is, start from the top down. Really, start from the top down. Build yourself a great antenna. Whether you buy Callum's, Alpha antenna, their Hextenna, which is brilliant. That thing blew me away. Or you buy something like a directional. Go buy a Moxon. Go buy an Urban Beam. Go buy yourself a monobander. Whatever. If you've got the money that you can put up that tower and get yourself a directional, put your money into a great antenna. Then get yourself a cheaper radio, because you're going to make calls on that cheaper radio, and you're going to love HF. That's how you build a successful ham shack. All right, got a special sign-off today for you. And by the way, before I go, I got to say hello, because my mate from Holland is here, and I didn't get a chance to say hi. Martin, Pop Echo 9, Tango India Golf. Always a pleasure to see you. I appreciate you coming. Ishmael from Dominica. Hi, Ish. Good to see you, buddy. Juliet 72, India Mike Sierra is here. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you wherever you may be today in the world. A very happy Saturday to you, and I thank you sincerely for coming to Ham Radio Live. We are a talk show about ham radio, period, and it may not be for you. And that's fine. That's totally cool, because I do this to give back and help people. And it may not be your cup of tea, and it may not be what you agree with. But one thing I will tell you, the one thing about ham radio that's so different than DX and shortwave is ham radio has a group of know-it-all guys. They know everything, and they're not afraid to tell you whether you bought the wrong radio, the wrong antenna, the wrong amplifier, the wrong whatever, because they're right and you're wrong. Don't ever get lured into that trap in ham radio. Don't ever let it happen. You explore what works for you, and you enjoy it to the fullest and have fun, because that's what we're here for. We're here to enjoy the hobby. Until next time, my name's Larry. My call sign's Kilo 7 Hotel November. Please subscribe to the channel. Thumbs ups are helpful, but I never expect them. I just am grateful if one person comes. A special sign off. This is the first time we've run it from North Korea. Until next time, God bless you wherever you may be.
이상으로 주한 텔레비전 방송을 전부 마치겠습니다. 여기는 평양입니다.
Do you know the emergency phone number for San Francisco General?
Yes, I do.
Well, why don't you call them right now and have them send down an ambulance? Tell them there's two sorry-looking assholes here with multiple contusions and various abrasions and broken bones.